Today, we will discuss whether Abu Nasr Muhammad Al-Farabi, arguably the most influential Eastern philosopher, should be added to the curriculum for our first year political philosophy course. We believe that, although he adds considerable utility to the course, the prerequisites for adding him are too steep. Let's start with the utility he adds. In the course as is, there is a large temporal gap. We move directly from Plato to Hobbes, skipping the Middle Ages. This is problematic because with Hobbes, as with other later Enlightenment thinkers, we see a pushback against the importance of religion as the basis for philosophical thought. That leads to having no context for the political importance of this change in the relationship between religion and philosophy. Also, we lose about 1800 years of philosophy by acting like there wasn't anything after Plato and before Hobbes. That's where Al-Farabi comes in. In his political writings, it is evident that he is inspired by both Plato and Aristotle. However, he adds a unique way of interpreting religion's role within society, so we will start with the bridge to Hobbes. Al-Farabi believes that the polis is an instrument of rulership to lead the people in it towards excellence, which in turn leads to their happiness in the afterlife. He also believes that religion is a tool to assist in that goal. It becomes clear that he believes it's a tool by considering the leader and how the leader steers the people of the ultimate polis. Al-Farabi says that the leader of a city, ideally, is a prophet, philosopher, emperor, meaning that 1. He has a direct connection to God, 2. Is well read on the philosophical teachings, and 3. Decides the laws of the polis. The ruler uses metaphors and symbolism to help the people of the city with their natural duties. Within the city, these natural duties lead to the growth of knowledge for everyone. Also, these metaphors teach people the essentials of philosophy and anthropology within society, so how to act with one another. This way of thinking about religion is exactly what Hobbes is pushing away from, religion as a tool for attaining power. But there's more utility Al-Farabi adds. Namely, he also has a strong bridge to Plato. He attempts to harmonize Plato's and Aristotle's philosophies within his own. Like Aristotle, he believes that there is an ultimate state of excellence which leads to happiness. This state is also reached through virtues, clearly using Aristotle's Nicomachean ethics. Al-Farabi, like Plato, uses a noble lie to legitimize the state. Unlike Plato, though, he uses religion as a metaphorical noble lie. Besides that, Al-Farabi, like Plato, believes that the perfect city is ruled by an ideal individual, the prophet, philosopher, emperor mentioned earlier. Just like Plato, Al-Farabi draws an analogy between the perfect city and the body. Both use the body to refer to the city itself, and different parts of the body as the things that must work together to reach the perfect city. That leads us to some of the difficulties which arise when considering the addition of Al-Farabi. The first is that Aristotle isn't yet in the course. This is an issue because if we want to teach Al-Farabi, we must also teach Aristotle, as he is integral to the harmonization between Plato and Aristotle done by Al-Farabi. Without a basic grasp of Aristotle, Al-Farabi makes no sense. Most importantly, there are some truly fundamental issues that arise when considering the rhetoric of Al-Farabi. When we say, for example, that the goal in life is to reach excellence, which leads to happiness, in Aristotle's mind, happiness was the goal. To Al-Farabi, it was more of a side effect that happened to be there too. Moreover, Aristotle sought happiness in life, while Al-Farabi sought happiness in the afterlife. On top of that, the virtues are fundamentally different. To Al-Farabi, these things were things to study: math, cosmology, astronomy. Aristotle's state of excellence was reached through trial and error. You find your true self by knowing what to do in each situation through experience. But at least in translation, they use the same or similar words for entirely different concepts and notions of the world. The danger of confusion is too great and time too limited to explore the total worldview of the respective thinkers. Another rhetorical difference illustrative of this problem, this time from Plato, would be the analogy between city and body. Both men make this analogy, but for Plato, strong reference is made to his idea of how people are. There are 3 hierarchical classes, which each fill their own role. Plato refers them to the ratio, the emotions, and the desire. For Al-Farabi, the same language means very different individual, that every individual or class of individuals is a limb or a muscle of the body, and that every class must work together for the whole body to move properly. So it becomes much more multicultural than hierarchical. So Al-Farabi says very similar words as the Greeks, but means different things. We discussed and truly believe that the chasm between Plato and Hobbes is too large, and that Hobbes should have a medieval philosopher to push off against. A possible solution would be a philosopher like Thomas Aquinas. In his De Regimine Principium, Aquinas writes about themes like natural and feudal law, the right of resistance, and the responsibility of a ruler in regard to the common good. As one of the fathers of the church, he also fits the bill for being a philosopher for Hobbes to push off against, and he shortens the gap between Plato and the next philosopher, being from the 13th century. So, in short, we believe that the utility added by inclusion of Al-Farabi as a near-perfect bridge between Plato and Hobbes would be an important addition, but we also believe that the requirements for doing so would be too steep. Adding two philosophers while also discussing the mentioned rhetorical differences is a very difficult task, especially for a first-year philosophy course. At a later stage of our philosophical careers, we believe Al-Farabi might be an incredibly interesting philosopher to study. However, we also believe that he is best left for said later date.